Hey guys, welcome to my series about how to deal with different students on a priority hour on Cambly. So today I'm going to be talking you through what your first experience on a priority hour will be like and how to deal with beginner students on your priority hours. Now I know it's very intimidating if you have no teaching experience to sign up for a priority hour and have a random stranger call you and expect a lesson from you. But you should remember three things. Firstly, the students on Cambly are extremely friendly and outgoing. These are people who generally have a really good level of English and are confident and motivated enough to join Cambly in the first place. Secondly, if anyone ever treats you badly or makes you feel uncomfortable, you can simply leave the class at any moment and hide the student so they won't call you again. This has never happened to me, but just in case, you know it's there. The worst thing that can happen is that you can have like a really quiet student and completely run out of questions. And this happens sometimes, but I mean, it's not that bad. You just kind of have a laugh about it, maybe try and get some material up. You always find a solution in the end. So let's go ahead and talk about which types of students you're more likely to encounter on these priority hours. What I'm going to talk about today is beginner students. So it can be really difficult to have a student with very little English. And especially if they don't understand the basic questions. So the most important thing is firstly slow down. If you have an accent, be aware of the fact that you have an accent and maybe try and neutralize it a little bit. Slow down your rhythm, be very patient and don't act shocked. You know, when you realize that, oh, this person doesn't understand anything I'm saying, just don't panic. It's gonna be cool. And so the first thing you have to do, I think, if you get that situation where they're not even able to respond to basic questions, such as like, how old are you, where are you from? It very rarely happens, but it does sometimes happen. The first thing you have to do is get material up. So I would definitely recommend the Cambly material for this. There's loads of pictures, there's lots of text, basic grammar rules. And in my experience, many of the beginners on Cambly are Arabic speakers, which means they often need extra time reading words. It's something you might not think about because a lot of the speakers of other languages will be familiar with the English alphabet. And so you might want to use a translation tool from time to time. If there's really a communication barrier and nothing's getting through, you can use a translation tool, which is in the Cambly chat box. The first thing I do is get your material up. So if you go here beside the student's profile on the right hand side, you'll see enrolled courses and open beginner conversation topics, and you're all set with some content for them to work with. And the Cambly lessons I find are quite long, especially if you only have 15 minutes. So don't worry about getting to the end of the lesson. What's important is that what is on each slide is covered well and the student understands what's happening on each slide. And you'll be really surprised how quickly the student's knowledge of English will emerge once you show them the target material. They'll begin to remember things and it will really help. And yeah, one thing I really wanted to say is that you have to make sure that the student understands every small point that you're making. So if you remember the 3 P's of teaching, which are present, practice, and produce. So for example, if you're trying to explain to the student that you add S in the third person, you first clearly present the rule. So you write in the chat box something like, I write a book, she writes a book. I play guitar, he plays guitar. And this is presenting the rule. This is the first P. And then secondly, you need them to practice the rule. So they're going to repeat. They're going to say, okay, repeat after me. He plays guitar, she plays guitar. I play guitar, he plays guitar. And then finally, if you write an example and leave the verb blank, and then try to elicit the response from them to make sure they've understood the rule. And then do several examples like this to make sure that they really get it. I wouldn't try and teach a rule that you don't know that well. If a student ever asks, I've made this mistake so many times where someone says, oh, can you explain this? And sometimes you'll be able to guess the rule. Usually you can, but sometimes you'll just make a complete fool of yourself. So only teach things that you definitely know how to teach and that you understand yourself. And if you don't, just say to the student, look, I need time to prepare for this grammar lesson, so let's do it next time. And yeah, if you teach each grammar point like this, so you just teach it very clearly with loads of examples, your students will walk away with a feeling of accomplishment for sure. I think the key thing with beginner students is to make them feel comfortable. Just imagine what it must feel like to be them. the confidence and the courage it must take to call a native speaker of a language you don't speak. It's really amazing what they've done. And so just be ready for these beginners. Make sure that they understand your basic questions before moving on to more complicated ones. And they'll get a lot out of your class. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know your questions in the comments below. And if you're not on Cambly yet, sign up with my referral link below. Next time I'm going to be talking about the next group you're going to find on Cambly, who are the beginner conversationalists. So see you then.